Welcome in, everybody. I'm going to do something I rarely ever do if I have ever done it. We're just going to read an article straight through, and I just have a question of you at the end of it. I'm going to ask it right now as well. Is this something you can support? I've said before that to me, human rights are non-negotiable. I know brave, but I mean, really though, these days, I mean, that's not like a given for everybody. You know, some people are indifferent towards human rights. Some actively support policies that strip away human rights. But to me, what is happening in Gaza is obviously a genocide. If you don't call it a genocide or ethnic cleansing at this point, like I don't know what you're on. Like your eyes are just rolled all the way to the back of your head, or you're evil, or you're just indifferent to the suffering of millions of people. But I watch it very closely. I've been watching this since way before October 7th. I got into the whole Free Palestine movement. I'm guessing, I think like 7 years ago when I bought Peace Not Apartheid, the book Palestine, Peace Not Apartheid, the full name, by Jimmy Carter, James Earl Carter, one of my not favorite presidents, but favorite people who's ever occupied the Oval Office. Good man, I miss him. But it's a relatively short book, 270 pages, I believe, if you include the index on all that, the foreword. But we're gonna read this article straight through, and just I'll just leave you with this: is an article, and there's empirical evidence, there's polling. But I just are Israelis okay? Is another question I have. Erase Amalek. Poll reveals mass Israeli support for expulsion genocide of Palestinians. Once relegated to Israel's extremist fringe, calls for the expulsion of Palestinians and waging genocidal war against them have gained mainstream appeal. And it's because you've spent almost 2 years straight dehumanizing these people. And this is the result: a sick society. A new poll published in the Israeli newspaper Haaretz, which I tried to sign up for, it didn't work. Got an error. Couldn't even read the article on there. Haaretz reveals that genocidal rhetoric, once confined to Israel's extremist settler fringe, has now moved into the mainstream with overwhelming support for ethnic cleansing, mass killings, and biblical revenge. Con- Conducted by the Geocartography Knowledge Group for Penn State University in March 2025, the survey of 1,005 Israeli Jews points a chilling picture of a society increasingly radicalized by religious nationalism and emboldened by war. The poll found that 82% of Jewish Israelis support expelling Palestinians from Gaza, and 56% back the expulsion of Arab citizens of Israel, up from 45% and 31% respectively in a similar poll in 2003. And back then, the Intifada was going on. To the question, do you support the idea that the IDF, when conquering an enemy city, should act as the Israelis did under Joshua and Jericho by killing all of its inhabitants? Almost half of the respondents said yes. There's the polls, there's the graphic for you. Although 47% endorsed replicating the biblical conquest of Jericho, in which all residents of an enemy city, in this case in reference to Palestinians, were slaughtered. Every 2 in 3 Israelis, around 66%, believe that a modern version of Amalek, a biblical enemy of the Jewish people, exists today, and those 93% believe the biblical command to annihilate Amalek still applies. And let's just keep reading. I'm not going to interject, actually. The poll arrives at a time when Israel's war on Gaza has left is so low. It's at least 200,000, I believe. Has left 54,000 Palestinians dead, most of them women and children. Israeli leaders have repeatedly invoked Amalek to describe Palestinians, and military rabbis have framed the war as a biblical obligation. Amalek, oh yeah, by the way, we have a word for confined zones. We call them concentration camps, where you concentrate large numbers of people into a zone or camp. I thought we left that in the past. Guess not. Amalek is a biblical enemy of the Israelites, described in the Hebrew Bible as a nation that attacked them after the exodus from Egypt. In the book of Deuteronomy, God is believed to command the Israelites to blot out the memory of Amalek from under heaven and not forget, a call historically interpreted by some as a divine mandate for total annihilation. Never forget. Ironic. While many Jewish scholars interpret Amalek symbolically, the whole Bible's symbolic. It's not a historical book, and I'm a Christian. We gotta stop acting like this applies to life. As the embodiment of evil, far right religious leaders like Rabbi Yitzhak Ginsburg claim Amalek exists today in the form of Palestinians. Evil man to say some things like that. This belief fuels religious justification for violence, casting erasing Amalek as a sacred duty. In modern usage, the term has become a theological weapon, a way to frame war, revenge, and extermination not merely as political or military aims, but as divine commands. Religious figures like Rabbi Yitzhak Ginsburg, once seen as fringe, now appear ideologically ascendant in today's Israel. Ginsburg, the American-born head of the Ad Yosef Chai Yeshiva in the settlement of Yitzhar, has promoted the killing of non-Jews and claimed that their lives hold less value. Like, how do you talk like this? I've said awful things about human beings, individuals who I believe have done awful things to humanity, like Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and the like. One thing you never hear me do is talk like this about a whole group of people. Like that would never be me, Kush Clark King. You'll never hear me say shit like if you hear me say shit like that, worry about me. Ask am I okay? Try to get through to me because obviously it means I've lost my humanity. I will never say something like a group of people holds less value than another. He has described Palestinians as spiritual contaminants and urged, bro, this is just genocide. This is how the Nazis talk. You're a Jew. Purifying the Israeli army of human rights and restraint. I thought Jews were better than this. And I know Israel doesn't represent all Jews, but damn it, there's millions of Jews there. Was it 9 million people? They got to be better than this. A lot of people like me, excuse me, I say unlike me, aren't going to be able to distinguish between Israelis and a Jew. I understand not all Jews support this. Most Jews, a vast majority of Jews don't support this. There are a lot of good Jews in America marching with non-Jews, Gentiles. But damn it, Israel has to stop saying they represent Jews because Jews are going to get hurt. They already have. And what those two people got shot last week in Washington, D.C., the one guy was a German Christian, but his wife was a Jew, or excuse me, he was going to propose to her next month. She was a Jew. She broke my heart. I don't support that. And I don't support anybody losing their life over bullshit. He has okay, I reread that. At the center of his ideology in his sermon and book, "The Time to Crack the Nut," which calls for dismantling Israel's secular democratic structures likened to protective shells and preparing for a messianic age by purging the land of non-Jews. Man, these people are man, this is bad. Like this is like worse than the end times Christians. These people really believe it. He envisions a nutcracker, a Jew acting without ethical constraints driven by vengeance. That's Netanyahu. Ginsburg has praised mass murderer Baruch Goldstein, the illegal settler who murdered 29 Palestinians praying in Ibrahimi Mosque in Hebron. Written that three impure shells, the media, judiciary, and government must be shattered. He just wants fascism. He wants man, bro. The army, too, must be repaired by eliminating foreign moral influence. So what does that mean? You want to take all the Americans out of the IDF? Okay, last section. The poll confirms the ideology is no longer isolated, unfortunately. A lot of good people are going to get hurt now. There's going to be blowback to this. According to Haaretz, the Israeli media, once the first shell in Ginsburg's metaphor, has largely abandoned critical coverage since October 7th. Once you lose your media, you're done. The day Hamas attacked Israel, echoing calls for vengeance and expulsion. The judiciary, too, has aligned with theological nationalism. Settler Supreme Court Justice David Mintz recently declared the war on Gaza a biblical obligatory war to justify denying humanitarian aid, effectively enabling mass starvation. That's the Supreme Court Justice. In education, far-right nationalist curricula have reshaped attitudes among the youth. Only 9% of Israeli men under 40 reject ideas of mass expulsion and extermination. Yeah, well, congratulations, Israel. You have a Nazi society now. It's not going to end well for you, and you're going to lose your Jewish state. And I feel so sorry for you. All you had to do was act right. But once again, that question I had at the beginning of the article: is this something you can support? I can't.